For longtime Halo fans and modern FPS gamers alike, Halo Infinite is a breath of fresh air amidst the streak of unfinished, unpolished games like Call of Duty Vanguard and Battlefield 2042. With the promise of an open world Halo with advanced movement, following the suspenseful cliffhanger of Halo 5, Infinite has been highly anticipated since it was announced all the way back at E3 2018. After years of development, including delays for COVID and, well, this guy, I, among countless fans, couldn't wait to finally play the campaign in December of 2021. In this video, I'm going to be reviewing the gameplay of the campaign in Halo Infinite. I won't be discussing the multiplayer or even the story itself, so I will try to keep this review as spoiler-free as I can. I purely want to focus on the overall experience of playing. If you only want to see specific topics, I've marked timestamps in the description below. Lastly, if you enjoy this video, please feel free to drop a like and subscribe. I don't make content like this usually, but I might make more if it's well received. Now let's get into it. I have to start with the grapple shot, which may have been the most anticipated feature of Infinite. The grapple shot blew my mind with its versatility and ease of use right from the get-go. Gone are the days of walking to weapons to pick them up, looking for knee-high ledges to jump on, and tanking hits while you rush in for the melee. The grapple shot, combined with the mantling mechanic, revolutionizes movement within the Halo franchise. Its wide range of uses gives the player an incredible freedom to be creative with movement, something that's severely lacking in early installments of the game. Combined with infinite sprint and slide boosting, the grapple shot lets you fly across the map, sometimes even literally. But it's not the only tool that Master Chief has at his disposal. Throughout the story, you also unlock a shield core, threat sensor, drop wall, and thruster. With the exception of the shield core, which is simply a passive upgrade to shields, only one piece of equipment can be active at a time. I typically favored mobility with the grapple shot, but there are plenty of opportunities that really let the full arsenal shine. Camo elites can be revealed with the threat sensor, a patrol of enemies can be blocked by the drop wall, and hunters can be outmaneuvered by the thruster. The progression system to unlock upgrades for each ability is actually pretty balanced and useful, making the scavenger hunt for upgrade points worth your time. And even if you miss one or two along the way, there's enough of a surplus to fully max out the abilities before the endgame. Speaking of scavenger hunts, let's talk about the open world concept of the game. Halo Infinite's open world is incredibly different compared to the rest of the Halo games that simply follow linear missions from start to finish. Unfortunately, it's not very different from most other open world experiences that I've had with games like Assassin's Creed or the PS4 Spider-Man. Find and capture points that reveal locations of interest, pick up generic upgrade points that are scattered around, and save dudes who are in trouble everywhere, rinse and repeat. The environment itself is relatively bland compared to the other Halo games. You're either on the plains in a Forerunner structure or in a banished base. Oh, and did I mention the many collectibles that don't show up on the map but are still scattered around the game? This kind of repetitiveness plagues most, if not all, open world games, and Infinite is no different. But honestly, my biggest complaint isn't about the open world itself, but when I'm pulled out of it. There are a couple times in the campaign when you're locked in missions back to back without any warning. While immersive to the situation and the story, it's a jarring change of pace that leaves me feeling anxious to get back to the comfort of the open world. It's as if 343 Industries wasn't convinced that it was a good idea to stray from the linear mission formula, so they put it back in 3/4 of the way through because that's what they know how to build. If there was a little more breathing room between those missions, it would be fine. But it feels like I'm being rushed to the end of the game, even if I hadn't finished upgrading or exploring. Even with those downsides, I personally really liked Infinite's world of Zeta Halo. The freedom to explore, the ability to experiment with all the weapons and abilities, and just the opportunity to slow down and appreciate the game is refreshing to me as a longtime Halo fan. Also, the revamped combat and enemies add new variety that distracts from the repetitiveness of the environment. The enemies themselves have a diversity to them that I haven't seen in any other Halo game, which requires me to be somewhat creative in my weapon choice. Before Infinite, I could run around with a BR and a plasma pistol, easily dispatching enemies with shields. Now, brutes with tough, solid armor dominate the battlefield. And I'm not just talking about the 3 classic modes of weak, strong, and jetpack. They've added snipers, rocket brutes, and everyone's favorite, berserkers that start charging as soon as they touch the ground. Brutes aren't the only enemies that got an upgrade. Grunt Ultras have actual shields, Elites got faster and use active camo effectively, Hunters got a rapid fire attack, and Shield Jackals do this now. Oh, and they added Sniper Jackals back, so that's cool. Part of what enhances the combat even more is the new categorization of weapon types. You can now choose between power, shock, kinetic, plasma, and hard light, where each one has different effects on armor, shielding, and vehicles. It may seem daunting to have so many choices, but Infinite gives players the perfect environment to experiment. Ammo stations are found practically everywhere, and will replenish specific types of ammunition in case you can't find your identical weapon. Also, as the game progresses, players can unlock variants of every weapon in the game that have special capabilities. These can be picked up from weapon on demand points at fast travel locations along with other standard weapons, making them readily available. However, since they're unique, you can't pick up ammo from the grounds like usual. It acts as a sort of weapon durability that makes conservative players, like me, want to hold them more and use them less. So when I get locked into back-to-back missions without a chance to refresh my weapons, it gets a little stressful juggling my secondary as I desperately search for the right ammo station. Being able to get back to fast travel points has another advantage with the availability of Marine allies who are ready to help Master Chief at a moment's notice. And for once, they're actually somewhat useful in combat for something besides taking fire. Depending on who you've unlocked throughout the campaign, they can spawn with power weapons, or will scavenge for better ones if there are some lying on the battlefield. It's super easy to grab a vehicle like a Warthog and cruise around Zeta Halo with 1 to 5 allies providing support. And, as an added bonus, it's nearly impossible to team kill them, which means you can be heavy-handed with grenades and rockets. The only way to betray the Marines is to run them over in a vehicle, and honestly, their evasion AI is not that good. But unlike other Halo games, they won't turn on you if you kill too many, so have fun, I guess. Going back to vehicles, vehicles are available on demand and progress in the same way as weapons. The return of the Gungoose makes it easy to mow through enemy patrols as you explore, and once you unlock the Scorpion, it's game over for whomever you meet. The Wasp is a great way to explore in the late game since you can easily fly anywhere on the map, but its main problem is a lack of maneuverability and low health. If I'm attacked by a Banshee trying to engage in a dogfight, it's near impossible to avoid getting nailed by every shot. If there are 2 Banshees, I might as well give up unless I manage to fly out of the loading zone and despawn them first. Oh, and if you've ever gotten annoyed by enemies overcharging a plasma pistol shot at your vehicle, get ready. Any shock weapon will temporarily disable a vehicle with just a few shots, making it extremely easy to get stun locked. Thankfully, this goes both ways, making it worthwhile to carry a shock rifle. When it comes to boarding enemy vehicles, the grapple shot makes it so easy. As long as the vehicle is in range, it's 100% effective. Lastly, I can't make a Halo game review without at least mentioning the music. The new Halo theme sends chills down my spine and sends me all the way back to Halo Combat Evolved. It recalls the same main ideas of the original music, but still stands out as a new, fresh composition mirroring the game itself. And it is so good. The lack of music in the open world serves to accentuate it when it returns in new locations and campaign missions. While there's beauty in choral excerpts and excitement in drum beats, a delicate silence marked only by ambient sounds makes the world feel bigger and lonelier as Master Chief searches for a way through. Halo has always had a fantastic score, and I'm happy to say that Infinite has successfully carried that torch in its campaign. Looking back at all of this, Halo Infinite has a ton of potential in its open world and progression systems. It does a decent job of balancing creative new ideas with the nostalgic feel of a classic Halo game, but the repetitiveness of the open world and inconsistency of the pacing makes it a little more difficult to enjoy once the novelty is worn off. Also, at the moment there's no way to replay missions, meaning any missed collectibles would require an entire new playthrough to obtain. While it's definitely a step in the right direction after Halo 4 and 5, Infinite doesn't quite hit the nail on the head. I give this game a score of 8 out of 10. Have any thoughts? Want to see more content like this in the future? Be sure to comment below. I'd love to hear what you think. I'm Samwise, and thanks for watching.